Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime.
And welcome into Nittany Nation Overtime. I am Jack Washer. We have reached Week 9 on the Big Ten football calendar. Let's meet the panel for tonight's show, the NitWits. We got Mark Brennan from FightOnState.com and Lions 24/7. Neil Rudell from the Altoona Mirror, and a man who has been synonymous with Penn State football broadcast for 35 years, Roger Corey. Kind enough to join us on the set tonight. Thank you, Roger. So, gentlemen, I don't want to bury the lead. Penn State actually has an opponent now for Week 9 to be the Illinois Fighting Illini. Neil, I want to give you kind of first crack, just your initial thoughts on, just how this all came about. And we didn't know until about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
I'm sure there were a lot of moving parts between TV arrangements and trying to avoid rematches and satisfying, I guess, some of the rivalry games that hadn't been able to take place, Purdue, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So that's kind of how Penn State, I think, wound up with Illinois. They hadn't played them. They're trying to do some East-West. So it took a while, but they got it out today.
It's not a loveless Illinois team. It's a Lovey-less Illinois team. Just fired Lovey Smith. Hey, listen, whatever you think of the opponent, and as Neil said, they wanted to get some of the traditional rivalries back, obviously. I think the fact that this team is getting another game, that they're actually pulling these things through, the way the season has gone for Penn State, to have this momentum going, I think this is good to get another week of practice and to get another game, and especially another home game. It's going to be good for them.
Roger, as someone who's in the radio booth, I think the first half of the season and the second half of the season, I think people are excited about a 9th game because they're playing so well right now. From your vantage point, what have you kind of noticed how the moods kind of change, whether it's in the broadcast booth or what you're noticing out there as Penn State's kind of made its way back to 3-5?
Yeah, I see more joy on the sideline. There's more smiling. They're more active. There's more interaction with the players and the coaches, which I enjoy seeing. And they're just working better. They're working together better. There's more communication. The on switch was clicked at Michigan, I think. And for me, that's when the season turned around. Actually, the practice the week before the Michigan game, something happened. The switches came on. People were a little tired of the Zoom meetings. I think that was one of the first weeks they could all get together in Haluba Hall and have a real team meeting, and that's when the switch went on.
I think it's so interesting just to see how the first 5 weeks played out. We talked about it a lot on the show about how the Indiana game, I think, really changed a lot. But Mark, what have you kind of seen these last 3 weeks that, Roger kind of touched on it, but this team, you're not playing Ohio State, you're not playing Indiana, but they're beating up on teams they should beat, outside of the first half yesterday against Michigan State, but they turned it around in the second half, and really that game is not close in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, after the game on Saturday, Sean Clifford said, we've got our swagger back, which may be overstating it a little bit given the quality of opponent that they were playing. But to his point, yeah, they're playing like they believe that they're going to win these games, and there's a lot to be said for that. Obviously, they've cut way down on the turnovers. Generally speaking, the offensive line has played better, and generally speaking, outside of, one quarter Saturday, the defense has picked it up. So you put all those things together, you have some young players really coming along and getting in the groove, and I think that's all led to a 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, clearly their schedule was kind of front-loaded with the trip to Indiana that's turned out to be a good team, Ohio State, Iowa in the first half of the season here. The teams they're beating now, I think they really should be beating, but these teams were at least as good as the teams Maryland and Nebraska that Penn State was losing to early. So I agree, they've gotten back to basics. The big deal is the offensive line. Hey, they didn't allow any sacks yesterday. They've allowed 3 in 3 weeks. They allowed 20 in the first 5.
All right, still ahead on the show, the Michigan State game yesterday. We're going to dive into it, and it kind of perfectly summed up Penn State's season as a whole. So when we come back, we'll get more into the Michigan State game and also talk about bowl season. That's still ahead on the show.